SMT fans rejoice, because we are so back.
So, I ask, are you prepared to lead the life of a devil summoner?
My friends, the journey has been long, but it seems we may not need to wander this wilderness much longer. We all deserve this, but more importantly, he deserved this. The threefold disappointments of SMT5's first release, Nocturne HD being vomited out and Ringo's Requiem, took their toll.
I'm no Reaper, but I can send you to hell. So face the music,
SMT fans,
and take the L.
It was only after I watched the collapse of the third pillar that I realized that times were going to be tough. Our people have been in hiding, scattered after the fallout and unable to trust. We needed something. We wasn't sure what it was, but something was going to come along that would bring us back from this pit of despair. It was only a matter of time. Post the lackluster release of Nocturne HD, for years I was certain that Digital Devil Saga had to be next. I mean, the choice is obvious. Look at the games. The games are beloved by the fans. Sure, they would be just like the last remaster and sort of get shat out onto the various eShops with minimal changes or what feels like minimal effort. But I felt DDS could take it. The DDS duology was so good that they could overcome those issues Atlus enjoy making for themselves, like Day 1 DLC or needlessly compressed audio, or worst of all. So when I saw that my boys Gale and Bat weren't coming to the big screen, and that it was going to be a remaster of the Raidou games, I was incensed, bewildered. In my despair, I laid myself at the altar of Atlus and cried out to the god of JRPGs, "Why, Lord, have you forsaken us? Are we not your children too?" Yada yada. I could understand remastering the old fan favourites, like your Persona 3's Nocturnes or Digital Devil Sagas, but Raidou 1? While it has its fans, it's not exactly a good game. And it's a game that doesn't have the same nostalgia amongst fans, not like any of the other PS2 games. And in my opinion, I feel the game, as it was, lacked the quality to devil summon up any new fans. It was only last year that I played the Soulless Army for the first time, and my feelings coming away from the game were mostly one of disappointment and mild rage at the way they massacred my boy. Throughout the early hours of my playthrough, I honestly felt that by the time I rolled credits, this would be one of my favourite Mega 10 games. The wild storyline, contender for my favourite Mega OST, the amazing pre-rendered backgrounds all coalescing into a potent tonic set to ease my weary weeb soul. Unfortunately, there were a few major problems that prevented this game from reaching those heights. Okay, well, let's get a moan on.
I'm tired of parrying and I'm sick of having them dogs. Good thing there's combat even I can handle. Oh, yeah?
Sleep well this spring with the mind-numbing taste of Raidou's gameplay.
Oh, it's so much worse than I thought.
It may be hard to believe, but in a game where you play a katana-wielding gunslinger that summons demons, You wouldn't imagine that stabbing, shooting, and using demons would be the most boring thing you do. This is the most obvious problem, and probably the most common issue most people will have when playing this game. We weren't asking for God of War or Onimusha here, but Raidou wouldn't come close to filling my dark soul with light with this moveset. In terms of basic attacks, he gets a 3-slash combo, a thrust attack, a little spinneroonie, and what effectively feels like a BB gun that will stun enemies if you use an element of bullet that they're weak against. And just to add to the flow of combat, each of those will lock you in place momentarily after you complete them. Once you hit an enemy with their weakness, they will be stun locked, and any physical damage done from there on results in a critical hit. Critical hits are important because they raise morale of your demons. Once you hit a morale threshold, the bottom left will glow, and then you can perform a combo skill. Combo skills have Raidou and his demon combined to perform a powerful attack upon the enemy. Some of the combo skills can even provide resistances like null and drain to the elements and status effects. Yeah, ain't no one using those. Combo skills are kind of cool, but not nearly enough to carry the rest of this shoddy battle system. Raidou's demons effectively work as weakness turrets. I'm pretty certain their sole purpose is to burn through as much MP in as short amount of time as possible. Their most useful trait is that they act like another body on the battlefield, giving you a little bit more room to work around within these small arenas. However, some are so large that, to be honest, you can't see what the fuck is happening most of the time. Like I said at the beginning of this section, the biggest crime that this game commits is that combat is boring as all hell. Raidou sucks, the demons blow, and yet I'm still unsatisfied. But the cherry on top of this shit sandwich of gameplay is that at any point in combat of the action game, you can pause, go to the menu, and trigger a healing animation which freezes time around Raidou until it's complete. In a game where your demons can heal you in battle anyway, this mechanic seems specifically put in the game to ruin the tension of any and every given moment, be it the first fight or the final boss. Now compound these problems with the excessive encounter rates present in most SMT games, and you'll quickly wish the game could have just been a visual novel or an anime. Healing was also too expensive.
Bring more maca next time.
In the last section, I found it quite easy to identify the problems I had with that aspect of the game. And it's very understandable why anybody wouldn't really enjoy it, especially over the course of an entire game length. But when it comes to investigation skills and your demons in this game, I find myself a bit torn. On the one hand, I like all the ideas. I think in concept they're all quite interesting. But when it comes to the moment-to-moment gameplay, I found myself wishing that they were just a little bit more fleshed out, or at least utilised more throughout the playthrough. So on top of attack skills, your demons are also granted investigation skills. The investigation skill each demon possesses varies depending on which skill order they're placed into. Think of the skill orders much you would the demon races in a game like Devil Survivor, where they each have their own unique abilities. So a pagan type demon in this game would be granted the skill Read Mind, which gives Raidou the inner thoughts of the NPC, ultimately giving him information that they otherwise wouldn't have provided. Which, in and of itself, sounds quite interesting. However, of the investigation skills you'll mostly use, their main function all work the same way. So the Pyro Order has the skill Ignite, which can burn things occasionally, but most often will be used to reinvigorate a downbeat NPC again into divulging details they otherwise wouldn't to Raidou. Or the Frost Order skill Cool Down, which works exactly the same as the Pyro Order skill, but for angry people instead of sad people. The dual purpose for this skill is to freeze bodies of water, allowing you to traverse across them. It happens like once or twice to me. Many of these investigation skills sound interesting, but ultimately feel like a quick way to get information for Raidou at any point without having to really work for it. There are other investigation skills such as Inspect, Fly, or Loose Change, but their usefulness is extremely varied and circumstantial, and half the time they only really serve to get an item which isn't that valuable. But the introduction of investigation skills, no matter how infrequently you actually have to use them, result in a new problem. Now you have to balance your limited stock around investigation skills and combat. So you may find yourself 10 hours later with the same demon you had back at the start of the game. Or nightmare beyond all nightmares, you find yourself in a position where you need a specific investigation skill, but you don't have any demons with the skill. Sure, you could fuse for it, maybe you've got one in the compendium, but money's tight and no one wants to grind. Not in this type of game. So your only solution now is to remember this location for 10 hours Metroidvania style. Another thing to factor in is that this game doesn't have that many demons in it to begin with. I think about 70 or so. Meaning there can be large level jumps between demons of the same skill order, which in turn makes you unwilling to fuse away some demons because you never know when you're going to get the next one with the skill. Ultimately, for long stretches of the game, I felt that my party ended up being stagnant, and due to the way that exploration and combat merge, there wasn't any satisfying way to overcome this. Objectively speaking, this isn't nearly as serious an issue for me as the other two sections. However, with a story as weird and wonderful as this, full of extremely memorable moments, the lack of voice acting really underlines the wasted potential with this title in general. I think if this game had voice acting similar to that of Digital Devil Saga, the game could have elevated itself out of the status it now holds as a niche fan favourite. Now, I'm not desperate to have voice acting in my games. The DS version of Strange Journey is the best, and I didn't feel the original version of Nocturne suffered without voice acting. But for this game, the cutscenes, the conversations, being silent, really stands out, especially when you consider the other PS2 Atlus game. I joked about it earlier, but the extremely quotable moments from games of this era have lasted with us gamers for decades. In some cases, they're the only thing the uninitiated gamers out there will know about a game. Moments such as...
King? Yeah. Here's your crown.
What is our leader's decision?
I've sent my right hand to dispose of you.
Your right hand comes off?
To the Vanguard's territory?
Who's that?
When the forces of darkness descend, in the name of justice, this fist! In the name of truth, these muscles! In the name of honor, this blood! Ha ha!
Against all those guys? Now I know you crazy.
Me? Gungaga.
Mickey! It's Riku! They put bugs in him!
Hey, wait. I knew that didn't make sense.
Whereas with Raidou, he's mostly only remembered for looking pretty cool. But I think that this game and Raidou should be looked back on with genuine nostalgia from our fan base, instead of just being one of the many sweet looking games on our backlog. Well, holy shit. As I watched the announcement trailer, I almost couldn't believe what I was seeing. Atlus have really exceeded my expectations with this. When I heard they were going to do the remaster, I genuinely was not looking forward to it. I love Raidou, but at least with his first game, I was very uneager to ever play this game again. But after the announcement and then the subsequent spotlight, this has immediately become my most anticipated game of the year. Without having actually played the game, I'm almost certain that this remaster has fixed all of my complaints. In the spotlight, they said that they've implemented Raidou 2's combat system, which anybody would have told you is a major step up from the first game. This, as well as new combat skills and add in the new pistol mechanic, and I think we've got something here that actually looks like it might be fun for more than just 2 minutes. And with the inclusion of case files and new demons to the roster, I think a lot of my second problem with the game is mostly solved. The fact that there wasn't really even side quest in the first Raidou game is actually kind of shocking now that I'm thinking about it. I just hope these case files let us use our demons and their investigation skills more often than we did the first time round. The environments look redone in a 3D style, which unfortunately does away with the pre-rendered backgrounds, but I think they've faithfully recreated them in this new engine, and they look great. I'm very surprised by how they managed to recreate the cutscenes without losing too much of the original zest and style. Now, it may be wishful thinking, but they do have the opportunity to maybe expand on some of these cutscenes with some added voice lines. Possibly asking too much, but it's just a thought. We all knew they probably would, but them adding in voice acting into this game can really go a ways to bringing to life some of these cutscenes and could give us a much deeper understanding of some of these side characters that we may not have had a strong impression of the first time round. In fact, other than myself being an absolute quick save hater, as I look over this list of enhancements, I pretty much am happy with all of them. Whether they be big gameplay changes or just quality of life updates, I'm pretty impressed they went this far. Unlike with some of the other Atlus remasters, I think this is very clearly the definitive way to play the first Raidou game. We thought after the Nocturne release that Kazuyuki Yamai had been hiding. In fact, the rumour as of last year was that he was no longer even an Atlus employee. But he returns to us a saviour, bringing with him illusions of a time we thought was lost and forgotten. Mate, me and Kazuyuki Yamai, man, we're like this. I think it's clear to see that over the years he's had a vision for Raidou, the same vision that I had, that Raidou could be the true third pillar. And I can feel through what they've shown his passion and probably many of the team at Atlus's passion behind getting Raidou to the heights he deserved to be at. And I'm excited to see what he means when he said he doesn't want to end things here. It probably means if this sells reasonably well, they'll most likely do Raidou 2. But what about another Raidou? Another thing this director spotlight showed is that there are still people at our favourite companies that do listen to the fans' feedback, and this is feedback over 20 years, so for them to have remembered what we all wanted out of this game and then implement it even after all this time, it really brings hope to us JRPG fans out there. This is a very important remaster. I say remaster, it feels almost like a remake. Everything about this release shows the cynical SMT fan within me that Atlus, or at least some of the beautiful people that still work there, do care about us. That we're not just the forgotten children we thought we were. That maybe Atlus isn't completely hell-bent on flying into that Joker-shaped Persona singularity. That maybe going forward the spin-off series can get the care, love and attention they need and deserve. That maybe they fucking make SMT 9 properly. To summarise, boys, it's been a long and hard few years. SMT fans being cucked by Persona could not continue. The great edging by Atlus must end, and it looks like it will. Because I'm about to have a full-on fusion accident on June 19th. Wow, what a perfect announcement. I don't think this could have gone any... Oh, for fuck's sake! If you made it this far, I want to thank you for taking the time out to watch this silly little video I made, and if you enjoyed it, like and subscribe.